If you are on your loose leash walking journey and you've been hearing about slip leashes, maybe a little bit interested but not really sure what they are or how they work, then you're in the right spot. My name is Kristen from Salty Pack, and today we're going to be going through everything about what a slip leash is, how to use it, and if it might be the right tool for you. So firstly, what is a slip leash? It could be a slip collar or a slip leash. The only difference is a slip leash is just a little bit longer, that you can actually use it as an entire leash system, whereas a slip collar might be something that would be roughly about this size that you still need to clip a leash onto. So what a slip leash is usually some sort of nylon or rope or even biothane material that the rope will go through this O-ring, creating basically just kind of that little bit of a pulley system essentially on it. How a slip leash is designed to work is giving you a little bit more feedback between your dog. Think of it as a little bit more power steering. So if we compare it to our traditional flat collar, think of a flat collar just being static, and this is your dog's neck. If they are doing a bit of pulling, they're really only getting feedback from the front of the neck. Generally with traditional flat collars, they do tend to fall down the dog's neck, creating positioning the collar, I should say, a little bit further down the neck in quite a chunky part. This doesn't give very much feedback between us and the dog. So with a slip leash, this is designed to go up and over the dog's head, and then because almost every slip leash is going to come with one of these stoppers, sometimes two of them so that we can't tighten it any further, but it will always come with one of these stoppers. That makes it so that we can keep that slip leash nice and high just underneath the dog's chin and just behind their ears. A lot of people can be a little bit funny about using slip leashes when done inappropriately if they start to fall down the neck. Particularly a lot of people who are moving into a slip leash have used a flat collar, but because the flat collar falls down, you can even hear my voice change a bit. That's where it kind of gets that hacking cough when your dog is pulling a little bit more on it. That's definitely where a lot of people are a little bit more nervous as well too, as that's where the trachea sits, and people have heard about trachea damage as well. So using a slip leash and even using a flat collar appropriately and in the best way is going to avoid that, but it's much easier with a slip leash. So how the slip leash is designed to work is it's more of a pressure on and pressure off system for the dog. So again, rather than the flat collar just being a static, if this is your dog's neck, just pulling into the front of the neck, the slip leash is going to be pressure on and pressure off. Now, a lot of people just are going to be trying to find a really quick fix. The slip leash is still not one of those quick fixes for most dogs, because most people going to a slip leash, their dog has already had a little bit of pulling history. So again, this is for most dogs, when they feel the front of the flat collar, this has become a pull harder and stronger to get to the thing I want faster signal for them. So they start to feel that pressure on the front of the neck, and because we haven't taught them otherwise, they have just started to pull us. So I think it's a good idea to go to a different piece of equipment, and if the slip leash is something that we do want to use, we still need a bit of conditioning for it. Because oftentimes what I also see for people who are not using the slip leash appropriately is what it becomes is this then becomes the new signal to pull harder and stronger to get to the thing that you want faster, right? So we'll be talking about conditioning a little bit later in the video, but know that the slip leash is not going to be a perfect fix for every dog, and it still needs a little bit of work to condition it as well. So how we put the slip leash on is we are going to slip it up and over the dog's head, and I'll show you with an actual dog later. We're going to put it up and over the dog's head, and how I want it to position. So if I have my dog on my left-hand side, I want the tail of the slip leash. So if this is us who are walking next to our dog, I want that tail to be releasing off over the dog this way. Now, however you want to think about it best, I like to put the slip leash onto my dog's face, and so then they are on my left-hand side this way. So when I put it onto my dog's face, if you can kind of picture a capital J with that big tail of the J coming down and swooping up, so you can kind of see that capital J from there. Or if you want to put it onto your dog when they're on your left-hand side, Think of it as sort of like that'll be the same, a lowercase b, there you go. So you can see that tall tail coming down here and then swooping up and underneath. That is going to be how you're gonna put it if they are already on that left-hand side. So remember, when you are looking down at your dog, if I am on the right and my dog is on the left, that tail of the slip leash comes off to the side. The reason for that is because sometimes if we do it inappropriately, and the slip leash is coming underneath the dog's chin from that tail, from the leash end of it, what might happen is this might actually come here and it won't release as well. Whereas this way we can get a nice release from the slip leash, which is what we want. This way you might have a little bit less movement if it comes underneath. So what you are about to see is I'm going to show you exactly how to put it onto an actual dog. You will then see how we do our first kind of conditioning phase with the slip leash, and then how it works once we are past the conditioning phase and into a little bit more of that teaching and a little bit more of that training phase. So for Artie, again, I'm going to put it onto his face like a capital J, up and onto his face, just behind his ears, and it's gonna sit nice and snug just behind those ears. I'm gonna grab the camera as well too. Good, nice job, bud. So that you can see how high it actually is. It should sit pretty snug at the top of the dog's ears. Nice job, bud. So just behind the ears, nice and high, and just underneath his chin. You can kind of see it underneath there, and it should be pretty snug that like you can fit maybe a couple fingers in. Good job, my man. All right, so we got little Tico here. This is gonna be his first time using the slip leash. So he has already been on a flat collar, so he is used to having something around his neck like that before. So for him, we're just going to be conditioning a little bit of what the slip leash actually means, and it's the same thing as a slip collar if that's what you're using as well too. I'm going to show him directionally that if it comes from behind, I want him kind of working behind with me. So here's going to be his first little, there you go. I want him to understand that wherever the pressure is coming from, it's a directional kind of guidance for him. So if he's too far out with the leash walk, I'll do a couple of taps, and at this stage I'm going to move backwards just so that it's an entirely different, like, hey, when you feel that pressure, just check back in with me, essentially. Rather than trying to teach him a little bit more of the, like, hey, move backwards, I want him really checking in. Good job, bud. So we'll do a little bit of change of direction. I can use a little bit of this footpath, like this is perfect for me right here. I can use a bit of that footpath, cut into the grass if I need to kind of keep it a little bit funky fresh for him. Tico's a dog that we're not necessarily using a bunch of food with him. We're just watching his weight a little bit. So I'm just going to use a little bit of praise. He's generally like a, hey, I like that I'm pleasing you kind of guy. He would like food, of course, but we're just making sure that we're mindful of his weight. So he knows a few commands already. Tico, let's go. Good, there you go. That first little pressure of the slip leash, a little bit of a shakeout. It's all just new and different for him. Nope. Nice, super boy. Good, and he already knows that, like, when he hears that, nope. Good boy, nope. Nice, clever man. That it's a, like, hey, just check in, you're about to feel that pressure. It has come from the flat collar, so now it's just coming from the slip leash. So already with Tico here, what I'm noticing is he's definitely staying a little bit closer to me. Good. Ooh, I nearly tricked you, super boy. Yep. Nice, so he's just getting off a little bit too far to the side. We can move across on the grass this way. Nope. Keep him moving along. Good, Superman. And the conditioning for the slip leash doesn't have to last that long if he's pretty good on the flat collar already. Nice, Tico. Wow, super boy. Good. Keep him moving along. Good. Have a sniff. Give you a little bit of a break, my boy. Oh, it looks like there's bindies. Let's go. Good. Nice, happy man. Super boy. So there is a little bit of a change for him in the way that he is leash walking a little bit closer to me. That could be from the slip leash. It could be just because I've done a little bit more of those change of direction, a little bit more pops on the collar, so he's got to pay attention a little bit more. So that can be context-wise, just being like kind of in this area now. Nice boy. Good job, mate. So pretty easy with a dog like Tico. We probably don't need, nope. Nice, super boy. Oh, a little confusing there. You're good, super, nice job. So if a dog gets confused like that, let's go. Nice. I don't want him to stay in that like kind of confusion and go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stress you out or anything, buddy. Good. Tico. Good. I'm just gonna stop you here. Nice, super boy, good job. I want to show him that with the pressure that comes on, nope. So those taps need to start. Nice, good job, bud. Good, Superman. Right when I was like, yeah, I think that he's gonna come back to me, that's when the pressure can turn off. So some people relieve the pressure or those little taps a little bit too early sometimes. And what happens there is the dog kind of figures out like, oh, I'll just kind of ride through this pressure and eventually it turns off for me. I want it to be that your behavior, Tico, is what actually changes the pressure being removed from happening, if that makes sense. So when he was out like that and he's like, oh, this is kind of weird. Good job, bud. When he was out there and he's like, do I keep moving this way where the pressure is coming this way? And I need to keep that pressure on until he moves with it, and then the pressure gets relieved. So that's why we have a benefit of having the slip leash or the flat collars, because it's really directional. So the direction in that case, when he got a little bit confused, is the direction came back towards me. He wanted to keep moving that way, going, but it might turn off if I just work against it. And I want him understanding, no, it turns off when you move with that pressure. So Tico should be in control of all of that pressure when it's on and off. So that's probably like the most that I might be doing for him. We might get a couple more of those moments of him going like, but if I keep pulling to sniff, nope. Nice, super boy. And how much faster was that for like, oh, okay, I don't work through it, I just work with it, and then that relieves the pressure. Much better response there. So that shows me that he's learning as well too. So we might do like another maybe 1 or 2 sessions like that if it was a tool that we wanted to use with Tico. Good job, my boy. He's been on the flat collar. He's not a dog that's like necessarily needs to go to a slip leash, but it's just to show a little bit of a kind of crash course on maybe like the first time we put a slip leash on a dog, just to make sure that they understand the slip leash is directional, move with it. Good job, bud. Summer, let's go. Good. Hi. Nope. Good. So because she responds to the taps, I'm not going to change direction there. If she was continuing to pull ahead, nope. That's when I would probably change direction. Good girl. We've learned from last week. Summer. Good, nice job, sweetie. Good girl. Nope. Tap, tap. Yeah, good girly. Nice work. Just bringing her back into that kind of position just next to me. Nice. She's so tiny. Nice. In an online world filled with a ton of good trainers giving a lot of really great content, we're really excited that you are here with us. So if you want more content like this one, click on that button, and please click on this one to subscribe. The more people who subscribe to our page or comment, like, rate, share, doing anything that you can just helps to get more people like you seeing our videos for free. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.